A question was posted on Facebook. How do you protect your lower fairings in the event of a drop while doing slow speed practice? So I thought this would be a good opportunity to use my 2018 Road Glide to show you a couple of things that I've done to my bike to protect it in the event of slow speed drops. I'm also going to share with you a couple of things that I've learned from the classes that I've taken to help protect my bike from being damaged in the event of a drop. Now, I have three motorcycles. I have my 2023 CVO that does not have lower fairings. I have a 23 Road King that does not have lower fairings. This bike does, and this is actually the first bike that I started doing my slow speed practicing on. And I have dropped this bike many times. I've had some awful drops with this bike. In fact, my good buddy Jogo is also responsible for a couple of the drops on this bike. I hate you, Joe. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that you can do. The first thing that you could do to protect your bike is to make sure that you have engine guards and saddlebag guards. And as I'm going to demonstrate for you in a moment, the engine guards and saddlebag guards should be enough to protect your bike from being damaged in minor drops. Now, I want to put a caveat on that. If you have OEM or factory engine guards and factory lower fairings, some aftermarket lower fairings and some aftermarket engine guards do not provide the same level of protection, or those lower fairings may not be shaped the exact same size as the Harley OEM lower fairings. Again, I'm going to demonstrate for you in just a moment. Something else that you can do, there's a product called motorcycle drop guards that you can install on your bike, and I have them on this one. Those also provide a little bit more protection for your engine guards, as well as keeping your bike a little bit higher off of the ground, which will also protect your lower fairings. Another option are these low-cost shaft collars that you can purchase from Amazon. They're only $26. I haven't tried them personally, but I have seen them used on a number of bikes at motorcycle rodeos. Just be sure to get the size that's correct for your engine guards. Now, my good friend Ken Grant at Loudon down in Pensacola, Florida,
the biggest little YouTube channel on the entire interwebs. Woo!
showed me a technique during my 101 class involving blue painter's tape and duct tape to also provide some protection to your bike during slow speed practice. So let's take a quick look at that idea. The lower fairings seem like they would be easily damaged in the event of a drop, but as you can see, the motorcycle drop guards do provide a little bit more protection. Now, if you look at my drop guards, there's some scratches right here because this is where I've dropped my bike. But what you can do to provide a little bit more protection if you're worried about it is take your blue painter's tape and I'm going to put it in the areas that are likely to contact the ground. The next thing you want to do is take your duct tape and put it on top of the painter's tape. And the reason we're doing it this way is that the painter's tape is fairly easy to remove. If you put duct tape directly on your bike, good luck getting it off. We'll put Now, in the event of a minor drop, the duct tape should be able to protect you from some minor scratches. It's obviously not going to protect from major damage or anything like that, but this is just great for if you're doing slow speed practicing and you're concerned about dropping your bike. Now, while we're here looking at the lower fairing, something else I want to show you or talk about are my highway pegs. I've learned that these highway pegs can move and they can actually scratch and or damage your fairing. So you want to be careful about that. Make sure that they're high enough so that they don't contact the ground. Now, if they're low enough, they'll contact the ground and help keep your fairing from hitting the ground. But the problem is that they're going to move if you hit it hard enough, and they can swing around and make contact with your fairing. So just be aware of that. And even if you have those frame mounted peg or frame mounted highway pegs, I don't know, they go down here somewhere. Be aware of that as well, that in a drop, they might hit the ground first, and it's possible that they could damage your bike if they move. Okay? Next thing that I'm going to do, I'm actually going to push my bike over to demonstrate what I'm talking about in terms of the protection that you get from the engine guards, motorcycle drop guards, the impact that your highway pegs can have, as well as showing that putting painter's tape and duct tape on a couple of key areas can help protect your bike. Now, one thing that I did not mention, if you have a street glide, the area on the fairing that's right next to the mirror, or somewhere about right here, the area that would be most likely to hit the ground, you should put the painter's tape and duct tape in that area as well. Let's push this bike over. Oh, don't hate me. All right, so here it is, idly laying on the side. So as you can see, I have my highway pegs so that they do not contact the ground, because I don't want them to move. But you can also see some space in between the fairing. Actually, not a lot of space. Let's take a look there. Now, I don't know, that might be on the ground. Maybe it is. I guess it's on the ground. But the painter's tape or the duct tape should have protected my fairing. So we're going to pick it up and see what kind of scratch we have on the duct tape. But we can look, there aren't very many more parts here that are contacting the ground. So your floorboards could be impacted. And also looking back by our saddlebags, I don't see anything on the ground here. But the drop guards are doing their job. But even if they weren't there, you still would not hit your saddlebags. So that's also something to be aware of. But these lower fairings are definitely at risk of being damaged in the event of a drop. Yeah, I don't see any daylight in between my fairing and the ground, so it's on the ground. So let's pick it up. Another part of learning how to control your bike at slow speeds is learning how to pick it up properly. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. So in this case, the bike is laying on the right side, so I'm going to reach over and put my kickstand down. Next thing I want to do is make sure the bike is in gear, because if the bike is in neutral when you try to pick it up, it could start rolling, so make sure it's in gear. Next thing I'm going to do, pull my handlebars back, scooch down as low as possible, and I'm grabbing at my saddlebag guard, and I'm just going to walk the bike backwards and push it over onto the kickstand. So it's fairly easy to pick up a dropped bike, but let's take a look at the tape that we put on here. All right, so here we go. And I don't see any scratch anywhere on that tape. So maybe it did not hit the ground. It looked like it did, but I don't see any scratches. But you can see here, actually I've probably moved this thing a couple of times, but you can see the damage to the bolt. I should probably turn this in a little bit so that this isn't connecting, or this part isn't hitting the ground, the screw. But my bike is protected. There's no damage here, so let's peel the tape off and see what it looks like. Well, the scratch was already there, but this does work. I generally don't put tape on my bike when I practice, but as you can see, if you put tape on there, it will protect you and give you a little bit more protection in the event of a drop. So hopefully that helped you out. Be sure to leave me a comment in the comment section, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, it helps me out. And also be sure to check out my sponsors, Volunteer Audio. And also big shout out to my channel members. I want to thank each and every one of you for continuing to support me in my YouTube journey. This is Q. I'm riding, I'm wrenching, I'm out.